Appreciate your joining us. You know, we've talked about this a few times. Back on March 5th, two teenage girls lost their lives to a drunk driver. And this has been incredible. You know, a lot of people, everyone I know, has been horrified and angry about this. It was a senseless situation. And we're going to tell you a little bit more about it and also how you can help assuage some of the pain that the families are going through right now. Joining me in the studio right now is Heather Harris from Harris & Harris Law Firm. I appreciate your coming in.
Thanks, Alan. I appreciate you having me here. It's a sad topic, but something that needs to be shared.
It's a sad topic, and we can do something positive about it. And also, it's going to bring to light, again, this issue of drunk driving, because I want to talk about that as well. First of all, you folks at Harris & Harris represent the family of one of these young girls who died.
That's correct, and I'm here today on behalf of the families, plural. But yes, we're trying to help them through this terrible time. It's obviously traumatic to lose any child, but to have the combination of the, severity of this loss, the suddenness of this loss, and the publicity surrounding it, it's completely overwhelming for them.
The mothers have gone through a press conference, and I don't know how they held themselves together so well, but they did, and I know they're in grief, and they want other families to not have to go what they're going through. And I know today there is a viewing of the bodies, and I know tomorrow's a funeral and everything. But first of all, let's just get right to it. They don't have the money to be able to properly bury their daughters. They
don't. It's an emotional loss, a physical loss, but it also is a huge financial burden that they were not prepared for. They had these two daughters that were 18 and 17. They were getting ready to help them start their lives, make decisions for their future. They weren't saving up money so that they can plan their burials. And the community has been very supportive to this point, but they're falling short a bit. And any amount helps. Any amount, $5 donation helps. And the GoFundMe accounts that have been set up for both girls can be found at our website. There are links to both of them at our website, which is hhtriallawyers.com.
Okay. And it's right on the front page, I understand.
Yes, it is.
So the GoFundMe account's at hhtriallawyers.com, and that money will go to help with the burial expenses of these two young girls, 17 and 18, I believe.
That's correct.
Yeah, very, very young girls. Hit by a guy who, I didn't know this until you just told me a few minutes ago. He was actually convicted there was another DUI in his life?
He was out on bail. He had not been convicted. And
okay.
Facts as to why he was still out, because this infraction occurred several months ago, why he had not been convicted or the process hadn't been completed on that still remains a bit fuzzy. And there's a lot of outrage about that. But the fact that he had done this before, he should have known better to begin with, but he certainly should have known better after he had previously been arrested. He knew what he had done was wrong, and he went out and he made this choice anyway.
I would agree with that, by the way. Was anyone else injured in the other DUI that he was on bail on?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, but he had a DUI going, at least getting ready for trial, and he figures, what the hell, and he goes out and he does it again. 6 beers, they're saying, 6 beers in an hour and a half. He blew, I think, a .16, and in addition to that, this guy they're saying they estimate he was driving at 117 miles an hour down Boulder Highway. 117. I can't imagine. I can't even begin to imagine.
It's unreal, and the level of disregard for life, disregard for anyone around him is astonishing. He chose to go out and have these drinks. He had drinks in one place, my understanding is, then went and had drinks at another place, then decided to drive his car 117 miles an hour down. It's Boulder Highway, but it's a city road.
Yeah.
And there's just no excuse for that. There is no excuse. And I'm angry. I'm angry on behalf of these families. I'm angry on behalf of everybody. There's no reason that this should occur.
You should be, and we all should be angry, by the way. The GoFundMe accounts to help with the burial of these two girls is at hhtriallawyers.com, hhtriallawyers.com. We'll come on back and continue our discussion with Heather Harris from Harris & Harris. Joining me in studio right now is Heather Harris from Harris & Harris, and I appreciate your coming in.
Thanks, Alan.
Sorry it was for a situation like this, but nonetheless,
Me too.
I appreciate you coming in. Heather Harris, the folks at Harris & Harris representing one of the families of the two girls who were killed by that drunk driver on March 5th as they were making a U-turn on Boulder Highway. This guy who blew a .16 was traveling at the estimated 117 miles an hour, obliterated their car. I mean, completely obliterated the car. And then I saw him in court, and, the judge said no bail. And he looked up with this deer in the headlights look like, really? Seriously? And yeah, dude,
yeah. He looked stunned, and it's shocking to imagine that he would be so surprised. But more facts are coming in as we speak, but he seems to have had a number of infractions before. He had a previous DUI arrest, was in the process through the court process with that, but it had been delayed. And for whatever reason, he seems to be surprised that he's actually being held to account for this.
All right, real quick. First of all, I want to remind you that if you'd like to help out with these families' burial expenses for these two young girls, they had not planned to have a burial for these 17 and 18-year-old. You don't plan that kind of stuff.
They were hoping to plan for the one girl for Kamisha's high school graduation. They were hoping to plan for, joyful things like trying to figure out how to get them to college. And one girl was, really hoping that she would be able to continue her education, this spring even. And they weren't planning for this.
If you'd like to help on out, GoFundMe accounts are up at hhtriallawyers.com, hhtriallawyers.com, hhtriallawyers.com. It's on the front page, so if you can, $5, $10, whatever it is, you can help out on. The family will certainly appreciate it.
Any amount is appreciated, and they have asked me to express that they are so grateful to everyone who has donated, people that have sent them messages offering their prayers and thoughts. And even on our own Harris & Harris Facebook page, we've posted some information about this, trying to get the word out so that people know where to go to donate funds to help them. And so many people in the Las Vegas area have been touched by this. And they recognize the senselessness that these two girls lost their lives. They had everything in front of them, and in an instant it's gone because one person makes some extremely reckless decisions.
Right, and you've got to take responsibility for making decisions like this, and one way or the other. And plus, he had already been arrested for a DUI once before, awaiting trial on that. You think he would have been overly precautious, but instead he became overly reckless, and now two girls are dead.
And I think that's one of the things that angers people most. Everyone in life has made mistakes. I'm not saying that it's acceptable to drink and drive ever, but you would have thought that having had this encounter before where he's been arrested, he knows that he's awaiting trial, that he would have seen the light and said, oh, wow, I've made a bad mistake.
Mm-hmm.
I've made this error in judgment. I'm not going to do that again. Instead, he seemed to have gone in the other direction, with the feeling perhaps that he's untouchable, that he can do whatever he wants. I don't know where that comes from. I don't know why people would make that decision, but he did.
I've had many conversations with Sandy Heverly from Stop DUI, and I just want to tell you that in a situation like this, any of the situations like that, when you get caught with a DUI, as far as I'm concerned, people ought to go to prison for a DUI, period. Because if you want to drink, that's fine. You want to stay home and get stoned and drink, whatever. But when you go out in the roadways and you're drunk, you really put other people at risk. Now, you cause an accident, I'd put you in prison for a lot longer. But you cause the death of people when in a situation like this, there should be no reason you're ever allowed out on the streets ever. I mean, I would give you life with no possibility of parole. I mean, I'm really a maniac when it comes to putting someone behind bars for something like this.
Well, and I don't know if you've seen the photos of or the footage of this accident
Yep.
and what happened to their vehicle.
There was nothing left.
It's almost unrecognizable as a vehicle, even. And for the drunk driver to walk away with nothing, I mean, it's amazing that he's surprised. But these poor girls had no chance. They had no chance, and that is what angers me most. They were just on their way home, and this man plows into them at 117 miles an hour. It's
Can you imagine? I mean,
I can't really.
the whole thing is amazing, and the sad part is that these two mothers are going through grief when they shouldn't have had to go through that. Again, the accounts have been set up. They are GoFundMe accounts, and they're at hhtriallawyers.com, hhtriallawyers.com, and that's why Heather came in this morning to be able to make this appeal, to let you know that these families need the help. And you've got to think, God forbid, what if it was your family? And no one ever wants to think about that.
I've thought about it many times since meeting with these families, and they are truly heartbroken. There's nothing that I can do to fix it. I wish that there was. The only thing I can do is try and help them this way now, and to find some sort of justice for them. But there's nothing that can bring back their daughters, and it's unfair. It's completely unfair, and I wish there was more.
And even whatever financial compensation they ever get won't matter, won't bring back their daughters anyway.
It won't bring back their daughters, but in cases like this, I mean, we'll see. We haven't even gone down that path yet. We have not gone down that path yet. Obviously, if the facts are shown in the future that there is a case to pursue against this man, which in my view, right now, it appears that there is. But, we haven't gotten to that point. Right now, we're here to help these families prepare to bury their children, which is, for any parent, the worst imaginable outcome.
Well, it is, and I can't imagine how much he would have, himself, in terms of how much money he would have. Terry writes, sue the last eatery that served the drinks and have their TAM card taken away, I guess.
We're looking into all options at this point, and we're investigating the case actively. But right now, as we're getting ready to help these people bury their children.
That's the important
that's
thing.
That's the thing
and
that
again,
we need help with now.
Any money down the road still is not going to bring the kids back. What will help right now, at least mitigate some of the pain a little bit, is to go to hhtriallawyers.com, go to the GoFundMe accounts on the front page, and whatever you can contribute. It's hhtriallawyers.com, and again, whatever you can afford to help out with this family, these two families who are in need right now, I know it'd be very much appreciated. Heather Harris, thank you for coming in. I appreciate it very, very much, from Harris & Harris.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you for having me here.